Joe blended up the smudge bowl for today's group, and it's a very large smudge bowl. It's like, oh my God, it's going to get smoky in here.
This is from in my medicine bag. It's like all the sage and everything that was in there, the sweetgrass and everything. So I was cleaning it out this morning. I'm like, okay, this is going to be the prayer, and everything is like, okay, calling in spirits, whatever is going to come in, because there's like pieces of tree conch and other things. So I'm going to be, it's sort of a surprise because I'm not putting what I know in there. So it's sort of blended from so many other things going in my bag over quite a period of times.
So Joe, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Be honest now.
Well, this morning I woke up and I just had a really intense pressure in here.
Yeah.
That to just let that go. One of the thoughts that keep coming into my mind, because I was asking the universe this morning, like, what do I speak about, or what do I think about, or whatever. And as we're moving into the future, the spiritual people are going to become the minority.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get less and less and less, harder and harder and harder to find spiritual people. And the ones who are really doing the work, it's going to be a bigger challenge. And this is where you got to surrender and trust in the universe. And you're going to see it play out more and more and more, because people are going to join in other kinds of groups, and nobody knows. Because if you're really a part of that future energy and you're really one here to carry that light and change the world, your energy is going to be different. You're going to do things that are going to freak people out. And it's just the energy of the universe. Somebody is really, really sick, you can just place your hands on them and instantaneously heal them. And some people will come to you for things like that, and they'll be wide open, but afterwards they'll be all freaked out because they don't know what went on, or why the transformation, or why they feel good, or all this other stuff that opens them up. So there's this big dynamics. Every time there's this big epochs and this really, really big change, all these things go on, and it's the light beings, they really, really hold the light. And I've had many, many visions with this stuff going on for over 30 years. And I've been shown and told lots. Had a lot channeled to me from elders and other kinds of stuff, because they were given things, but they were leaving the planet, and they're like, I need to share this information with you so you can carry it into the future. Maybe you'll make use of it somewhere. And so this is where you got to recognize we are going to become the minority. There's all these factions, whether they're called Christian, Buddhism, whether it's Taoism, or whatever name and label you want to put to it, and call it esoteric, New Age spirituality, or whatever. But there are certain people who are really here to carry the light. They've been carrying it since they were born. They carry something that's different. There's some desire, no matter what goes on. They're going to walk through wars. They're going to walk through anything. And the universe is going to make sure. Because if you're supposed to be in the future, I don't give a shit if somebody's standing in front of you with a 45 gun going like this. I'm going to take you out and pull the trigger. If you are meant to be in the future, don't matter what they do, they will not be able to kill you or harm you. And this is where it's going into that surrender. Stop worrying so much about the future and ask, well, what am I supposed to do? How do I bring in that light? How do I assist other people to feel safe, and stop trying to control how it goes? Because I just channel things. And I'm just going to segue into a bit of this weekend in our 101 course with this. Like I say, when I go into spaces and you get 12 people coming in, right? And we're trying to teach a course, and we just sort of show up and we throw everything together, and you don't know what's going to go on. If the popcorn cooker goes, right? Is the popcorn going to pop or not? And so you're sitting in there and all kinds of stuff going on. So I go around, start smudging and clearing people.
It's like, I know Joe wants to share this story so bad because it's so good.
But it's part of the segue. This is where you trust and believe. Everywhere I go, everything I do, even on these meditation groups, everything, I trust in the universe. Cindy is always worried, what are we going to do?
I'm not always, but I am
like,
sometimes.
It's always going to come in, whatever needs to be taught or done. So you trust. So we go to this place in the mountains, and we walk in, and there's 12 people there. So I'm going around clearing people. There's one guy I've known, and we've been his partner's friend. And so he's sitting there, and I'm smudging him, and I'm like, like right away they tell me to tap this part because there's an energy. So I'm like smacking it. And at first he sort of shifts a little bit. And then this energy comes in and he wants to smile. I could feel him wanting to laugh, and there's the lights going in and he's fighting it, and his smile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's going, and he's sitting there and he just doesn't know what's going on. And I'm just smudging him. I'm like, just ground, stay in the energy. Don't overthink. Just allow this to make you feel amazing. And like, and then I was done. And so kept going on. And I came to this other individual in the group. And I'm like, right away, it's like, go to the back of the head. There's this big black energy behind the head. I'm like, whatever this is, it's got to go. Like, because eventually we're going to meditate now. We don't want anybody taking on this energy or doing something. So I focus on it. I get it out. I'm like, okay, where do I go? And it's like, go to the heart. And I'm like, okay, I'm focusing on the heart, and our heart energy don't want to open up. I'm like, okay, whatever they're thinking, whatever, maybe they're scared or they're paranoid, they're not allowing their energy. So it's like, go back to the head. And I'm like, but I got rid of that energy. So there it is again. So I'm like, okay, get rid of it, go back to the heart. And I did this for quite a while. And I'm like, something is weird here. So I'm like, I'm going to come back to you later. I'm going to go around and do smudge, and for sure it's going to break. Like they're telling me in the universe. And I'm like, I don't know why, but usually things like this pop really easily. And I'm like, okay, I got something to learn here. This is something new. I'm just trusting the universe. So I get around and sit down, and then we call the break in between so people can hydrate and chat and share a little bit about their experience and stuff. And this person comes over to me, and the person has this like zip, you can put little things in this little pouch. And she says, hey, I just opened this thing, and she pulls out this little vial with somebody's ashes. And 2 weeks before this person committed suicide. And she forgot she had put this thing in the pouch. And here she's sitting there. And I'm like, why can't I not get into her heart? Here's a vial of ashes that this person just committed suicide, and the energy was back here. And I'm like, why is so dark energy? Like, you're a nice person. Like, what's going on? So she runs out the door. She runs down to the river. It's like just across the road and over. And she goes down to the river and she dumps this ashes out. She comes running back in, and she just lit up. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, oh shit, because they told me it was going to release, right? And I didn't know, because I didn't know what to say to her. So the next day I was telling a few people about the experience. And I says, I think when I go to certain people, I'm going to start asking people, are you packing? Like if they're wearing a cross from a dead relative, or they're carrying dead ashes, or something connecting them to a dead person on the other side, I think I'm going to start asking people, are you packing?
Leave it in the car. If you're packing, leave it in the car.
They don't realize they're carrying all these spirits and things around with them, right? But it was really good learning. And this is where, you got to trust in that unknown. Like, I always know the universe is going to come in, and I don't worry and overthink things. Somewhere the answer is going to surface in. And it was a really interesting one, because I've never experienced that one before. So I was like, why can't I open her heart chakra? I've never had this problem.
Is this a religious thing? A religious ritual that people do that?
No, she got the ashes. She was going to take it somewhere and do something, and she forgot it was in the jacket, and she hung it up. And 2 weeks went on, and then she showed up in the 101 course, and then she decided to open it and then pull it out and went, oh, I was going to deal with this. She'd forgotten about it. So that energy was all trapped around her and everything like that. But when she came back, like I say, it was all gone, and she was just lit up, because I'm like, you're a nice person. All I get is nice off you. But I was like, why can't I open her heart chakra? Like, what's they're like, don't worry, it's going to clear. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to come back and smudge and it'll break. But she ran to the river, said a prayer, released it, and came back. And like I say, the energy was changed. It was freaking amazing. So this is where you trust in the unknown. Anywhere I go, if I'm going to go do clearings in West Kelowna and that, I just trust. Like, sometimes in the morning I get up, I just get my downloads. And I'm just like, okay, I know I need to do this. This is what I'm going to expect or see. And I just go in. A lot of times I don't say any Cindy. I just say my prayers, and I just stay in the energy. And most everything plays out. So like I say, we are going to become the minority. If you're truly one of God's army, you're truly one of these warriors of light, if you're truly one of these leaders or teachers, you have to go in here. You got to find that bigness. You have to go into the unknown and trust, because you're going to be hear things, and at times you're like, oh, I don't know. And then after it happened, you're like, ooh, that was right. And it's going to get stronger. I'm starting to pick up, and I'm starting to see lots of different things with people. So the universe is really starting to download and activate people. We had a few people come for clearings, and we're in the workshop and that are getting downloads, and they don't understand, but they're just going through these transitions or just trusting in the unknown. And so this is where you got to really reflect. It's like, because the universe is not going to force you to do this. If you don't want to do this, you could say, sorry, but I'm just going to go for the ride, and I'll reincarnate another time and maybe step up then. But this is something inside you. It's got to be a desire or something, because in that, it's going to really bring things. It's going to, lots of stuff goes on, and you're going to get your own training inside yourself. Lots of times when you got gifts and that, you're going to get shown and told things. And sometimes it's personal and you're not meant to share. Other times it's going to be things you need to share because other people need to receive that. So this is where that going places and doing things. And there's always something. So really, really interesting. And I had a really cool experience. I had a clearing with a friend too. I woke up and was like really sore back here. It felt like, well, it was building for about a week, and I thought, well, it'll break by the time we get to the mountains. But I woke up the next day and it's just this like really, really painful. So a friend came over and I'm like, can you just dial in and see what you can see? And so she sat back behind me and she opened up the space, and she saw this big hole, and she saw all these hands, like lots and lots of hands, like pushing down in this hole. And it went down, right down in my arms and everything. And then this energy came up and tried to seal my crown and my third eye. And I couldn't figure out what it was to release it. So she got in there, and with me and her working, just blew it all apart. And so I like this when I sit with people, and she just allowed all the guidance and everything, and you could just feel everything. And I'm like, this happened when I got hit with a dump truck 20 years ago. It nearly killed me. That's why life is very precious. And I really care for people, because every day to me is this very special gift, to be alive, to do things, to help people. I don't often tell people I really care for, love them, because a lot of people don't understand when I'm connected to the universe and I say things. And so some people I will share that truth, and people don't know how much I pray for them and really care and do stuff. And so this accident, like I say, blew a rip into my auric field, etheric field. And there's other ones that I know of, and the universe said eventually it'll get healed. So when she went in and was able to do that, and I just told her, well, whatever the universe can do to heal up that, because it is an energy, and if somebody sees it and they're mischievous, they can affect my energies. So I was very, very thankful, because it shifted a whole bunch of things, and I really was thankful. So this is something to think about this, because I've been on my own walking this journey for years and years and years, teaching and doing things and trusting in things most people don't see and understand. And sometimes I'm years ahead of people, so I just have to patiently wait that the light bulb's going to turn on, all this magic's going to happen, and I'll see them exactly where they're meant to be. And it's basically inside you, because the universe is asking, well, who wants to be a warrior of light, and who wants to trust in the unknown? Because all of you have beautiful souls, all you have gifts, and all you guys have a desire to show up this and do these things. So like I say, really evaluate and sit inside yourself, because there's lots of things around that sometimes throw us off here and there. And like I say, be okay to be a human, to feel your emotions, to feel good, bad, sad. I mean, when I was young, there was lots of things that made me paranoid and different things. And over the years, I've learned, and like I say, we're in this time what the natives call the purification and other kinds of things. And if you really, really ask to see your own future, you're going to see how you transition. You get little things here and there that are just going to help you step in through all around things. And it's going to become very, very magic. There's lots and lots of gifts and abilities that are going to go on. People are unaware of it at this moment, but you're going to start seeing, like I say, strange things happening. People are going to, like, you're going to believe it's magic, but it's the universe's energy and higher awarenesses and other things. Sydney?
I got the mic now.
May I ask something?
Of course.
How long is this period gonna go on for, the purification time?
I just say around 10 years. I think it's going to be
10
maybe
years.
quicker. I just say 10 years. I want it beyond. I'll go past it, because then if you're focusing 10 years, it's not that big deal. I mean,
No.
it took me 61 years to get here, so 10 other more years is not that far away. So
Okay, I was thinking in terms of thousands, but no, it's 10 years
No.
only. It's fine. We can survive.
yeah. And we're already in the age of Aquarius. They're saying, oh, the age of Aquarius is coming, but there's different calendars and there's things out of alignment, but we're already in the age of Aquarius. I think we were already in it for about 150 years. There's a lot of things in that started back in the 1800s that are now all revealing, and the universe always starts things really big at the beginning, and it's all playing out from what the visions and all kinds of other things. So we are in there. The scientists are already proving all these things, like all this stuff that should be an age of Aquarius is all going on.
Yeah. We went to do a meditation in person with a group of people, all new people. And except for Corey, you've all met her. She was there. And it was interesting. It was in this woman's townhouse condo in a 100-year-old building that used to be a Buddhist meditation center. So it was interesting energy for sure. And in the mountains where we went, the Lord God over the land is cannabis. So it's like everywhere you go, everyone's wearing a t-shirt with the leaf on it. They've got shrines to cannabis. I swear to God, like it really looks like shrines. They got posters on their walls and everything. So it's kind of an energy in itself. It's really shocking. So, but I knew that about the region. So when we put out the ad for it, we said that this is a sober event. And then when they came, everyone that was sitting there, Joe went into some really awesome channeling, and he delivered the message so eloquently. I was like, no, that should have been recorded. How a lot of them were like Kundalini yoga practice. They all did different forms of meditation. They knew their way of meditating. And I had to sort of stress it a couple times, which is like, allow yourself to have a new experience. You haven't done this with us before. Do not go into yogic breathing. Do not hold mudras. Just be yourself. Just comfortable in your body. Just breathe like you would if you were grocery shopping. Go back to the grocery shopping scenario. And it was really cool because most of them did it. I'm like, if you want to have a new experience, you got to do something new. And when I went to Australia, I allowed myself to have the experience I was meant to have. And I had a very big experience. If I tried to control it, saying this is how it is for me when I meditate, then I'm limiting maybe a new potential from coming in. So the channeling came through really clear, and it was neat because most people picked up what we were trying to get across, which was is a little bit surprising because you usually have somebody in the group that wants to push a different sort of agenda. And when it came up about being sober and going into higher energies, it really came clear. And it's like, we want you to have a conscious experience, not an altered experience. And when that got delivered, it felt like it landed in a way that kind of, it's making them think. It felt like it was a message they needed to hear, and that nobody in the area is saying it because everybody's all in praise be cannabis, right? So when it all ended, they were all very, very happy with it. And some were saying, this is so refreshing. There's absolutely nobody here in this area that allows us just to be ourselves. Like, oh my gosh, it's kind of a crazy thought that, you know, there's an image to uphold, being like a flower child, a hippie, ganj master, all of these images, yogis, that people are pretending to be. And it was interesting where they had an opportunity just to be themselves and they liked it. So it was a really good, successful meditation group that we did.